Golden Opportunities is paid for by Elder Productions.
Hello, I'm Lori Steiner. Welcome to Golden Opportunities.
Today, is it getting harder to hear? We have help. Then, we'll take you through time-tested estate planning tactics. Are you and your mate feeling down in the dumps? We'll detail how to dig out of your marriage doldrums. Plus, we'll make ourselves at home with the architecture of Frank Lloyd Wright. And we have the answers to common Medicaid questions.
It's time to get you going, so pull up a chair and join us at our kitchen table for Golden Opportunities. Do you find yourself tuning up the TV so you can hear it better? Or are you asking others to repeat what they've just said? If so, you may need help with your hearing. Dr. Sarah Mowry has joined us in the UH Broadcast Center to address hearing issues. Dr. Mowry is an ear, nose, and throat specialist with University Hospitals who specializes in hearing and balance disorders. So welcome to our show.
Thank you for having me.
Is hearing loss just inevitable as we age?
No, not necessarily. There are definitely patients who don't have any hearing loss into their 80s and even their 90s. But for many patients, it's a combination of what I like to call a lifetime of use with other predisposing factors, maybe a familial hearing loss or a genetic underlying predisposition.
Okay, so you mentioned noise and use. So those rock concerts we all went to as a kid, probably not a good thing?
Well, it certainly doesn't help. And many patients will describe having ringing in their ears after leaving a loud concert or a place where there's a lot of noise. And that ringing in the ears is a sign of some underlying damage that can happen in the hearing organ. But then over time, the combination of exposure to life with those other loud noise exposures can lead to hearing loss.
How can we really know for sure we have hearing loss?
Well, ask yourself honestly, do you think you have a hearing loss? Many patients, if they're honest with themselves, will recognize that there may be something going on. But the first place to start is probably with your primary care physician, who can order a hearing test, and then we can get some specific information about what's going on in the inner ear.
Okay, so what's involved with a hearing test?
Well, you would go to see a licensed audiologist, and we can test the ability of the sound to be transmitted to the inner ear, and that involves testing the eardrum and the ear bones, but then we also test the ability of the inner ear to convert that sound energy into an impulse that goes back to your brain. So we test two different parts of hearing.
And so there are two different tests that you're sitting there going through.
Correct, yes.
One is whether you hear it or not, and one is whether you understand it or not.
Yes, the inner ear plays two different roles. So not only do we hear the sounds or the tones, which as you may remember as a kid in school getting your hearing tested and pushing the button, but we also test the ability of the inner ear to discriminate what those sounds mean. So some patients will have the ability to hear sound but not understand what that sound means.
Okay, so if the tests do show that there's hearing loss, what's the next step?
Well, the next step would be to talk to your audiologist about what would be the appropriate management. For many patients with an inner ear hearing loss, the appropriate treatment for that would be some amplification or making the sound louder with a set of hearing aids to help you be able to hear when people are talking.
What about if it's the other kind?
Well, the ability to understand words unfortunately is not always treated effectively with a hearing aid, but we need to make sure that you can in fact hear the sound. So for most patients, that is still the appropriate treatment, is to use a traditional hearing aid system.
Okay, are hearing aids all pretty much the same?
No, that's a great question. There's a lot of different technology, and the technology has improved significantly over the last 10 to 15 years. I don't pretend to be a hearing aid expert because that technology is always changing, but talking with the audiologist, you can decide which levels of technology and which bells and whistles would help the most in your specific listening situation.
Okay, so there's help. That's a good thing to know.
Absolutely.
If people keep saying, "Can you hear me now?" then now might be the time to get your hearing checked. Follow Dr. Mowry's advice and see your primary care physician to start the process. My thanks to Dr. Mowry for giving great information that we all heard, I think, loud and clear.
For more information, call the Center for Lifelong Health at University Hospitals at 844-312-LIFE. That's 5433. Or visit www.uhhospitals.org/lifelonghealth. Next, estate planning steps. But first, we say that celebrities are in the limelight. But where did that expression originate? We'll switch on the answer when we return.
Right now, the trusted experts of University Hospital's Seidman Cancer Center and the most advanced cancer-fighting technologies are in 17 community locations. That's leading-edge care, where you're most comfortable. That's UH Seidman Cancer Center. Right now, proton therapy, a revolutionary treatment for many types of cancer, is available for the first time in Ohio, and only at University Hospital's Seidman Cancer Center. That's the future of cancer care. That's UH Seidman Cancer Center.
In the early 1800s, theaters lit up stages by burning a cylinder of lime, which gave off a very strong light. So performers were literally in the limelight, which drew everyone's attention to them.
There's a lot to look at in the new tax law, especially in terms of estate planning. Jim Lineweaver tackled a few topics 2 weeks ago, and he's back to take on several more. Jim is a certified financial planner professional with the Lineweaver Financial Group. So welcome back.
Your voice is much better this week.
Yeah, I got rid of that cowboy in my head.
That's good. I like this. This is a good you. Let's stick with this one.
All right, thank you. So what's first on your list for this show?
Well, first it's a financial powers of attorney and how this relates to your investments, because I don't think people realize how important these documents are. And the problem is that, you know, without a financial power of attorney, your family's going to have a lot of financial hardship in trying to access other accounts. But this is where you're going to actually appoint somebody like an agent or attorney, in fact, to actually execute things financially on your behalf. And it's extremely important.
So can you give us an idea what might happen if you don't have a power of attorney in place?
Yeah, so let's just say you're married, and let's say your significant other was the primary breadwinner in the house. And let's say they had accumulated a lot of money in 401ks and IRAs, and something happens to them. Death is actually easy, by the way. I hate to say it, but death is easy. Disability, nursing home, things along that nature, ill health is very tough to deal with, not only emotionally, but also financially. So if they have a lot of money in these IRAs or 401ks, you don't have a financial power of attorney, they're incapacitated, you can't go get the money. So you're going to have to go to the court, you're going to have to be appointed a conservator, and then they're going to have to be able to log this stuff in and make sure you're doing things properly and stuff. It's a huge headache. It's a real pain, especially when that person probably needs support emotionally as well. But it can really tie the family's hands.
Yeah, and that's not a good thing. Next is avoiding probate, which means you have to think about beneficiaries as well as agents to work when you're disabled, right?
Yeah, I can't tell you how many mistakes we've seen with people coming into our office, because there's just a very simple way. If you just list people down as a primary beneficiary, and then contingent would mean that if that primary person passes away, it's going to default to maybe the 2 or 3 people you put as contingent. But I literally had a very wealthy person come into our office. He was referred to us. And when we looked at his IRAs and we started to look at the beneficiaries and things, he actually had a limited liability company that he listed as a primary beneficiary on his IRA, which is a huge no-no, as you know, right?
Yeah, that I know. Our viewers might understand, but it was like, oh no!
Yeah, it's like, what are you doing? Yeah, because then they're taxed at a very high rate. It's huge complications. So immediately we got those stripped out, listed as family there and other things. So if you want to really avoid probate on IRAs, 401ks, life insurance, all those types of things, anything, annuities, wherever you can put a beneficiary, get it down and check them regularly.
Okay, and other property is joint ownership an acceptable way too?
They could be, but also in the state of Ohio now, and a lot of things like real estate and any capital producing asset like stocks and things along that nature, you can have a transfer on death now, and it doesn't cost you anything. You can just go get it recorded down at the county or have your advisor listed as transfer on death. That way, if something happens to both you and your spouse, you pass away, it'll automatically avoid probate, go right to the beneficiaries.
Very good idea. How about a trust? When do you need one?
Well, there's a lot of different reasons for a trust, but I'll tell you why I usually recommend them is when There's touchy-feely things that you can't get done in a will that you want to pass. Like my kids are relatively young, although they're starting to get older, so they're aging. I'm not. But needless to say, I wouldn't want a good amount of money dumped on their hands at this age. It could kind of get them off their financial tract. So with a trust, I can put those touchy-feely things of all their health, welfare, maintenance, support will be paid, but there's certain age restrictions of when they would actually get money. So they get out there, they work on their own. I can't do that in a will, but I can put all these kind of handcuffs around how people inherit money in a trust. And there's also benefits to avoiding probate. And we talked about on the show with the exemption of the 11.2 million and doubling to 22 million and things along that nature. So a lot of interesting things that could be taken care of with a trust.
And a lot of things in the new tax law we have to worry about.
Yes.
As you can tell, estate planning is essential but complicated. And it's more complicated by the new tax law. For help, give Jim a call. His number's next.
To find out more, call the Lineweaver Financial Group at 1-888-313-4009 or log on to www.lineweaver.net. Next, marriage maintenance. Looking for places to go, things to do? Welcome to our community calendar. Ready to tap some sap? Then climb aboard a horse-drawn sap sled at the Swine Creek Reservation Lodge, March 11th. From noon to 4 p.m. is when the saps are rising. After you put some in your pail, warm up in the lodge with maple treats and live music. To learn more, call 440-286-9516 or visit www.geaugaparkdistrict.org.
We all can get down in the dumps in the dead of winter, but this seasonal depression can also occur in our relationships. Relationship coach Kathy Dawson is here with her husband, retirement coach Dick Dawson, and together they have help for weathering your marriage doldrums. So welcome both of you to the show.
Thank you.
So Kathy, how do we know that we're experiencing a couple doldrum?
You'll know. Because there's a lack of creativity, there's a lack of spontaneity, and you just are kind of in a rut, okay? And you're going to feel like you've been diagnosed with the doldrums. Okay.
Now, I know what the doldrums are. Okay,
it
this is going to sound really nerdy. Yeah, it's a section. It's really nerdy. It's a section of the ocean down by the equator, and sailing ships go in there. There's not much air. All right, there's not much wind going on. There's nothing going on, and things just sit. And that's the doldrums. There's a real name for it.
It fits the definition.
Yeah.
And it's understandable to get into this because we kind of want to hibernate. It's a natural instinct to want to do that. I mean, this time of year with the winter and the grayness, it's like an energy-sucking machine, right?
That's true. So do you have any suggestions?
Yes. There are 3 things you can do. The first category of things is simple things. For example, we changed where we ate as soon as the weather gets bad, we change where we eat dinner. We usually eat dinner either on the back porch when the weather is nice, or we eat in the kitchen, but our living room has a nice radiator, right?
So it could be warm.
It's warm, yes.
We have a table near it, and we put a candle on it, and we eat there, it's across the room from a fireplace. So that just makes you
It's really cozy. Yes, it's romantic. Sometimes we have a candle, and sometimes our dog comes up and sits with us, too. Not on the table, but on a chair behind us.
That's good.
Yes,
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So these simple things don't have to cost any money. It just can be something you just do very simple.
Just kind of change the
Break the
routine.
routine.
It up
Break
a
the
little
routine.
bit.
Yep.
Right. The second thing is moderate. Now this costs a little money. We had a comforter that we had on our bed for, I'm not kidding, 15 years. This thing was so ripped. I had sewed it up twice, and finally we said, that's it. We're going out. We're getting a new comforter. And it really changed the energy in our bedroom. I don't need to go into detail.
I don't need any details about that. That's a little bit too much information. It is a family show.
You can do that. You can pick a project in your house. Anything like that's going to help you build teamwork anyway. You're interacting differently when you do that.
Okay.
Then the last one, which is go for it, you are going to spend money, all right? You're going to go to a spa. You're going to take 1 or 2 nights away. You're going to go away for a week, and you're going to plop down some dough. But you're going to get out of the doldrums. So you have those 3 levels.
It's an investment in your relationship. So you need to do that type of thing. And the key is spontaneity, all right? Just, you come home after, you sit down, what do you want to do? I don't know. Do something different. Get out there, have fun. I don't care if you go bowling. There's a place in Lakewood, for instance, very inexpensive to go to. It's a coffee shop. And you can go there and you can play board games, you know, you got to get into Scrabble. Ohio City, excuse me. It's close. It's close.
Is he directionally challenged?
No, we've just never been there. Yeah. I'm the one who's
But it sounds like a great idea. The whole idea is to do something different, spontaneous, have fun, just break the mold that you're in.
Right.
Okay.
Like say you want to go see a movie. Rather than getting out the paper, just say, hey, right now, let's go see a movie.
And then you just drive to the theater and see what's going on
There you
and
go.
pick one?
Whatever.
All right.
Yeah.
That's probably in the moderate range, I'm assuming.
Probably.
Unless you're choosing to go to a theater in Florida.
Right.
That would be
Now we're
Yes,
talking.
exactly.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
But we got to do something because this is going to get to you after a while, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
the seasonal
basically-
affective disorder is kind of the same thing. You need the sunshine and you need
Yeah,
brightness
this is
and you
like
need something in your life.
something
sad for your relationship.
Yeah.
All right. So it's got to be different. It's got to be spontaneous. It's got to have activity. It's got to be fun too. Do something different.
And
All right.
creative, yeah.
It's a great tip. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thanks for
We'll
having
talk
us.
about that other stuff later on. Is your relationship routine in a rut? Follow Kathy and Dick's suggestions for taking your marriage from doldrums to delightful. And for more help, give Kathy a call. Her number's next.
Learn more by calling relationship coach Kathy Dawson at 216-536-8964 or click to www.kathythecoach.com. Up next, right at home. It's time to get up and go, an exercise segment on golden opportunities.
Hello everybody, I'm Mike Carbon from Breakout Fitness, and we are here today to show you how to do a kneeling Superman. This is an excellent exercise, Lori, that's not only going to work the core, but also the lower back. You ready to go?
I'm ready.
Let's do it. All right, we're going to start this exercise on all fours. Here in the studio today, we have our exercise mats. You at home, go ahead and grab a spot on the floor. We're going to start with our hands about shoulder width apart. We also want our knees the same. Looking good. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to start with our right arm straight out in front, and we're simply going to try to get our left leg straight out behind us in the back here, okay? We're going to hold that for a 3 count, keep your balance, and then we're going to go ahead and we'll switch sides. Okay. So left arm straight out, right leg out, and we're going to hold it again for a 3 count. Okay, we're looking for 12 to 15 repetitions. How you feeling?
Oh, out of balance.
You got it, keep your balance. All right, everybody, 12 to 15 repetitions, 2 to 3 times a week, and now it's your turn to get up and go. There you go, perfect, all right.
For your copy of the exercise booklet, send $1 for postage to Golden Opportunities, 6105 Parkland Boulevard, Suite 140, Mayfield Heights, Ohio, 44124.
Frank Lloyd Wright is admired for his architectural accomplishments, but there's even more to his abilities. He was also an expert in interior space and home decor accents. And those are the focus of an exhibit at the McKinley Presidential Library and Museum. Kim Kenny is curator at the museum, and she's here with a preview for us.
Yes.
So thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So the exhibit is called Frank Lloyd Wright, Architecture of the Interior.
Yes.
So what was really distinctive about the designs he did for the interior of his homes?
Well, a lot of times people think about Frank Lloyd Wright and you think about the architecture, but this exhibit is about the interiors and how everything was designed together. It was not separate. He didn't see the house as something different than the way that you would furnish it. So he kind of did it as a complete package in what he called organic design, which would include light fixtures, furniture, built-ins, things like that.
Okay, and that was different than what was going on currently, right, in house design?
Yes, yes. Immediately prior to, as he's coming to age at the turn of the 20th century, Victorian architecture is what's popular. So when you think about an old Victorian house, you think of a big house with lots of little rooms, formal spaces, and what Wright was doing, he's kind of a forerunner, and if you watch HGTV, you know that the open concept is what everybody wants.
Everything flowing from one thing to the next.
Yes.
Okay, so here we got our first picture here.
So he was also very interested in light. So a lot of times you'll see in his designs a light wall or window wall. So he would play with artificial light and natural light. And people who own their houses say that they change character throughout the day. So when the sun rises, it looks different, midday, and then when the sun sets.
So he really was something special in designing that kind of thing. And when it is an open floor concept like that, I mean, you've got these large spaces. So I would assume something had to give someplace else as far as space goes.
Yes, so his concept of public space is the kitchen, the dining room, and the living room, which are all together. So then your bathrooms, your bedrooms, those things are all very tiny. And also he doesn't plan for attics or basements. He figures that those are wasted space, so he doesn't want anything like that.
So he doesn't even include those in the plans.
No.
Okay. So how did his furniture and then the other home pieces that he would design really fit into this vision of the exterior and interior and the open space and everything?
Well, he really liked clean lines, geometric shapes, those types of things. And people that own his homes will find that you really can't add anything to what he's done. There's one style, and it's everything from your windows, your furniture, even the carpets in some cases. So you can't bring in something that's kind of soft and floral because it just won't
doesn't
work.
fit the bill. So
No.
if you own or are able to own a Frank Lloyd Wright house, when you sell it, everything stays, right?
A lot of it's built in because he didn't like the idea of clutter. So you can't really take out the built-in bookshelves and desks and nightstands and things like that. And also often when people sell the homes, they're very careful about who buys them because it's a whole different idea of home ownership when you own one of these homes.
I would imagine, yeah. And the exhibit that you have is kind of a different look at his design mind. Most people think of the exteriors, but this is altogether different.
It includes 19 drawings that Wright himself did, their reproductions, and then photographs of some of those things, and also 4 large photographs that people will be able to really get some detail out of.
Okay, so you don't have to necessarily go visit one. We can go see it at this exhibit. Frank Lloyd Wright, Architecture of the Interior, will be on display now through April 29th, so hurry or you're going to miss it. My thanks to Kim Kenny for opening the door into the exhibit and giving us a quick preview. Thank you.
Thank you.
Find out more by calling the McKinley Presidential Library and Museum at 330-455-7043 or visit www.mckinleymuseum.org. Next, Medicaid Matters.
I'm Dr. Stephanie Christian of Timeless Laser and Skincare. We help men and women achieve healthy, radiant skin at any age. Because when you feel good about how you look, it changes everything.
The all-new TrueSculpt 3D is a revolutionary non-invasive body sculpting technology that diminishes fat. We can now offer our patients impressive results and comfort throughout the procedure. Get the look you want with TrueSculpt 3D.
Visit us in Westlake or at timelesslaserskin.com.
Did you miss a phone number or website? Then here's your second chance because we're going to list all of that information again. Then we'll be back to answer your Medicaid questions. We've talked about the Medicaid program on the show before. It's the main government benefit available to help pay for long-term nursing home stays, which can be as high as $10,000 a month. People can't otherwise pay for their needed care. We get very many specific questions also about the program, and my law partner Mike Solomon is here to discuss a few of them.
Hello, Lori.
Now, we know the rules to qualify for Medicaid are really harsh, and we've reviewed those rules on the show before. But we get a lot of questions from people even after they've gotten through all of that and have gotten Medicaid benefits. So the first one I hear a lot is, my husband is in the nursing home on Medicaid, and most of his income has to pay for his care. What do I live on?
Okay, well, so you're correct that most of the income of the, let's say the husband's in the nursing home, has to go to pay to the nursing home as like a copay. But depending on the income of the spouse who's not in the nursing home, if it's below $2,030 a month, some monies from the husband, let's say, can go to the spouse, up to a little over $3,000 to pay for household expenses if their income is below a certain amount.
Okay. And you were talking about the
what about it? If the nursing home spouse dies and the surviving spouse was living in the house, is Medicaid going to come and take the house away as part of that state reimbursement program to Medicaid?
Well, there's a lot of misunderstanding here. The house is a special asset. It's protected. So the wife in the house, the husband's in the nursing home, the house is a protected asset. And if you move the house from the husband's name to the wife, and then the husband passes away and the wife passes away, Medicaid can't grab anything from the house.
Okay.
So as long as you do the right planning, maybe sit down with an attorney, a certified elder law attorney who knows what they're doing, the house should be protected.
Oh, that's a good one that people would worry about. And here's another one I hear a lot. My dad is in the nursing home. Can they come after me or my siblings for payment if he runs out of money?
Only if you do things wrong. So they have to take you into the nursing home. They can't say your son or daughter have to sign up, to pay for you. So when the son or daughter take mom and dad into a facility, look at the contract. Don't sign personally. If you're signing for mom or dad, sign as their power of attorney if you have a power of attorney. Don't guarantee anything, because then you will be liable.
And you probably should have the contract looked at, right?
Right. You should have. It's like any contract. You should have an attorney look at it, make sure you're not signing the wrong thing.
Okay. Last question. My wife is in a nursing home on Medicaid, but my sister just died and left me money. Is that going to cause my wife's Medicaid to be terminated?
No. If the person not in the nursing home inherits money, that money right now is protected. Now, if the person in the nursing home inherits money, that may impact their ability to qualify for Medicaid, but there's still some planning that can be done at that point. So they should meet with an attorney quickly after that and try to solve the problem.
Okay. Just a few of the questions we hear all the time when we're dealing with Medicaid cases. Medicaid isn't easy, and folks have lots of questions. Some of them really need to be planned for. So as Mike suggested, please be sure to see a certified elder law attorney for help with Medicaid. For more information, call Mike. The number's next.
Call Solomon, Steiner, and Peck at 1-888-236-5173 for more information or to schedule a speaker for your organization, or log on to www.ssnplaw.com.
Thanks for joining us. On next week's show, your parents need help, but you aren't always available. We'll share a resource that provides services. Then it's time for spring cleaning your teeth. We'll discuss how this helps defeat dental disease. And you just finished raising your children, and now you're parenting your parents. We're gonna have that for you. But tune in next week. Until then, make the most of your golden opportunities.
If you'd like to join our kitchen conversation, visit our website, www.goldenopportunities.tv. Like us on Facebook. Call us at 440-742-GO-TV or email us at kitchen@goldenopportunities.tv. We'd love to hear from you.
Golden Opportunities is paid for by Elder Productions.